So I have this video clip from 20 years ago that you guys are definitely going to want to see. And what you're about to hear may sound quite harsh, but in reality, it actually comes from somewhere else. So make sure you listen until the end because you'll be shocked at what he has to say. And it seems like these immigration deportations, the deportation of illegals is completely ramping up because we have something new on the horizon. You definitely don't want to miss that. So with that being said, let's dive in.
Everybody's making immigration proposals these days. Let me add mine to the mix. Call it the Limbo Laws. First, you immigrate to our country, you have to speak the native language. You have to be a professional or an investor. No unskilled workers allowed. Also, there'll be no special bilingual programs in the schools with the Limbo Laws, no special ballots for elections, no government business will be conducted in your language. Foreigners will not have the right to vote or hold political office. If you're in our country, you cannot be a burden to taxpayers. You are not entitled to welfare or food stamps or other government goodies. You can come if you invest here, an amount equal to 40,000 times a daily minimum wage. If not, stay home. But if you want to buy land, it'll be restricted. No waterfront, for instance, and as a foreigner, you have to relinquish individual rights to the property. And another thing, you don't have the right to protest. You're allowed no demonstrations, no foreign flag waving, no political organizing, no bad-mouthing our president or his policies. You're a foreigner. Shut your mouth or get out. And if you come here illegally, you're going to jail. Now, you think the Limbo Laws are harsh? Well, every one of the laws I just mentioned are actual laws of Mexico today. That's how the Mexican government handles immigrants to their country. Yet Mexicans come here illegally and protest in our streets. How do you say double standard in Spanish? How about no mas?
Rush Limbaugh. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. The laws of Mexico. What do you know? Told you guys you're gonna be shocked at what he had to say at the end. I told you. And you know, it is pretty crazy to watch these folks do what they do on American soil. And here's a video here of a gentleman absolutely disrespecting the American flag. Look at this. Look at this little dirtbag. And you got some folks cheering. If you love these other countries so much, then why don't you move to them? How about that? You know, how about that? I think it's about time we ramp up these deportations, and it seems like Florida is doing just that. Alligator Alcatraz, anyone?
Attorney General James Uthmeyer here at the Miami-Dade Collier Training Facility. This is an old, virtually abandoned airport facility right in the middle of the Everglades. Florida's been leading on immigration enforcement, supporting the Trump administration and ICE's efforts to detain and deport criminal aliens. The governor tasked state leaders to identify places for new temporary detention facilities. I think this is the best one. As I call it, Alligator Alcatraz. This 30 square mile area is completely surrounded by the Everglades. Presents a efficient, low-cost opportunity to build a temporary detention facility because you don't need to invest that much in the perimeter. If people get out, there's not much waiting for them other than alligators and pythons. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Within just 30 to 60 days after we begin construction, it could be up and running and could house as many as 1,000 criminal aliens. This presents a great opportunity for the state of Florida to work with Miami-Dade and Collier counties. Alligator Alcatraz, we're ready to go.
Yes, sir. Alligator Alcatraz, a facility to house illegals temporarily until they are deported. And if they try to get away, well, go ahead, have at it. Run through the Everglades, if you will. Because the closest civilization to this facility, I believe, is 50 to 60 miles away. Yeah. So you're going to be running through gator-infested water, along with pythons, okay, for 50 miles. And you think you're going to make it? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you're gonna be a little snack for somebody out there. Maybe a gator.
No problem. But all the stuff that goes into intake and processing of illegals, you're seeing this put up. This is all 24 hours. 24 hours from now, you're going to see even more. And by Tuesday, this will be able to have intake of illegals.
And you've thought of everything. Okay, so there are 4 gigantic tents. Let's come on over here, Governor. And people are thinking, okay, you're in the middle of the Everglades. It's hot. That would explain why you've got this bank of air conditioners here.
Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be, illegals will come in, they'll be processed, there'll be places for them to be housed, you'll have an ability for food, you'll have an ability for them to consult legal rights if they have that, because there is a process that's involved with this. So this is really everything. This is going to be a self-contained little area. And then, of course, you also have stuff for the staff that work here. So we've got laundry facilities, we've got showers, we've got, obviously, there you see the shower and bath facilities.
Yep, right there.
Yep.
Where do you go to get a bunch of bathrooms like that?
Well, so this is being done by the Division of Emergency Management. So when we have a hurricane, like we would actually have people stage here for hurricane response normally, anyways, but we have it. When we have all the linemen come in to do the power, we have to set up little areas for them. And so you have all this type of stuff. So this is not our first rodeo. The detainee illegal alien mission's a little bit different, and the deportations, but logistics, we know how to do that.
Right, and you know, for people thinking, okay, they're gonna put the migrants on this hot asphalt, it looks like you're building a subfloor, and in fact, some guys are putting down the plywood.
Yeah, no, look, this will be, I mean, there's not going to be anything that they're hurting for anything. There'll be AC. There'll be things that everybody needs. There's medical here. So it's being done right. It's being done by the book.
Well, you know, when you think of the imagery of Alcatraz, Alcatraz is surrounded by a bay. Here in the Everglades, we're surrounded by, you're actually surrounded by gators and pythons.
So this is as secure as it gets. I mean, if a criminal alien were to escape from here somehow, and I don't think they will, you've got nowhere to go. I mean, what are you going to do? Trudge through the swamp and dodge alligators on the way back to 50, 60 miles just to get to civilization? Not going to happen. So not only that is it secure, it also takes this deportation mission out of the hair of our local and state law enforcement. This has no impact on Florida residents because some of that stuff can have an impact on them if it's in more populated areas. And so logistically, this really answers the call. All you need is a little bus to move them, you know, about 2,000 feet that way, and then get on a plane and they're gone.
Well, listen, the DHS must love this because they're hurting for facilities, and here you are helping the federal government out.
Yeah, well, I said at the very beginning when President Trump took office, you have to have state and locals on board. You got to be on the team if you want to get the deportation mission done. We're done that better than anybody, but I hope other states will follow suit.
Yeah, I definitely hope other states follow suit. Now, I don't think too many other states are going to have Everglades and swamps that are in facilities 50 to 60 miles deep in, you know, swamp territory. But, you know, I'm sure we can figure something out, right? We can figure some things out. But yeah, man, listen, I think, you know, something like an Alligator Alcatraz is a phenomenal idea. It's a phenomenal idea. It's extra room to house illegals, and there's extra security because, like I said, and like Governor DeSantis said, they are 50 to 60 miles away from civilization, and the only way to civilization is through a bunch of gators and pythons. You're probably not going to make it through there. You're probably not going to make it. All right? So even if you do escape, you're not going very far, okay? Now, lastly, I want to play this clip of Clinton and what he signed in 1996, because it's quite interesting how Democrats will create this hoopla and get all angry when Uncle Trump does something, but when Bill Clinton or other Democrats like Barack Obama, when they were doing similar things, nobody said a word. It's quite interesting.
President Bill Clinton signed the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996, which allowed migrants to be deported without a judicial hearing through a process called expedited removal. 124 out of 197 Democrats voted for the bill in the House, while 32 out of 47 Democrats voted for the bill in the Senate. Under the act, an immigration officer from CBP determines if the migrant is inadmissible, either by not having a valid entry document or fraudulent entry. The officer issues a removal order after a brief interview, often without legal counsel or review by a judge. The migrant is then detained and deported, typically within days, unless they express a credible fear of persecution. No judicial hearing or appeal is provided. A supervisor reviews the officer's decision, but this is an internal process within the agency. Expedited removal does not apply to unaccompanied minors, lawful permanent residents, or those with valid visas. Migrants claiming asylum undergo a, quote, credible fear interview with an asylum officer, and if found non-credible, they can be removed without an immigration hearing. The Illegal Immigration Act was a comprehensive overhaul of U.S. immigration policy aimed at strengthening border control and enhancing enforcement. One of its most significant provisions was the expansion of expedited removal.
Interesting. Now, just for full transparency, that clip that you saw there was not from America. That was from Bukele, which El Salvador, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe El Salvador, in his facility there, the intake of prisoners. Oh, okay, we already heard you once. We don't need to hear you again. So yeah, just full transparency, that wasn't in America. But anyway, yeah. Nothing to say about that. No uproar, no marching, no protest, no ripping down of American flags. But Trump all of a sudden, oh, the big bad boogeyman Trump, oh my goodness, he's the worst person ever. But Bill Clinton signed an immigration reform bill that allowed him to deport people faster. Yeah, where was the due process? Where was the due process, folks, then? Due process. It's like the whole Albrego Garcia situation, the guy that got deported to El Salvador, and Democrats got up in a hoopla and went down to El Salvador to visit him and blah, blah, made a whole scene about it, right? Due process. Only to have him brought back here to America and deported to somewhere else again. It was a waste. It was an absolute waste. And if I was Uncle Trump, I probably wouldn't have even brought him back, to be completely honest. I would, unless I would have faced, some serious charges or something. All right, then fine. I'll bring him back. I'll make sure he comes back, kind of deal. But it was pointless. Like, he was getting deported regardless. So it was just a complete waste. Anyway, y'all get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your feelings about Alligator Alcatraz. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What are you thinking? And do you think other states should do something similar? Y'all let me know. All right. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.